देहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुता पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं चाक्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सगन ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, everyone. I welcome you all to today's session on Who is Pulling My Strings. Let us all begin this session by first observing the auspicious arati performed by His Grace Sachijivan Gaur Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sachijivan Gaur Prabhu, for that wonderful arti. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would like to thank all the devotees for joining once again our Sunday Gita course. We are very thankful to you for joining with us and inspiring us in this journey of learning Bhagavad Gita, and also how we can really apply that in our own life. Okay, so before we start, like it's always very important for all of us to make our heart and our mind focus the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so let's now pray to their lordships, and then we can get started for today's session. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's pray to their lordships. Please repeat after me. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Once again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Once again, would like to thank all of you for joining, and let's continue our discussion. And yes, we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is really compiled and with the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. Because yes, on our own, it is very difficult to understand the scriptures, because it is said that Bhakta, Bhakti, even Bhagavan or Shastra, they are very transcendental subject matters. So we can really approach them through the devotees of the Lord, because devotees can access the transcendental potency of the Lord. Because in our material condition, because we are so much of conditioned, with so much of anarthas, we cannot approach the Lord directly. We have to approach through the devotees of the Lord. And that's why we always take shelter at the lotus feet of our Guru Parampara, and especially Srila Prabhupada, so that he can bestow some blessings, so that we can speak the right words and we can hear it attentively, so that it can touch our heart and it can transform our heart. And dear friends, devotees, today we are really going to discuss a very, very practical topic. When we heard this for the first time, and I said, it immediately clicked us. Yes, this is the so practical message, the universal message, right, that can really be applied into our day-to-day life, right? And it's really the aha moment. Once we are trying to understand how there is so much of diversity all across, and so much of duality all across, and how we can really prepare ourselves to deal with those dualities in our own life. Because most of the times we are being forced, like this Vega, and we are being trapped with the different ropes, and we forced to act in a certain directions. So we'll try to understand like what are those forces are, what are those attributes are, and how we can really deal with them. So this will be a 2-weekend session. Today we'll be giving you an introduction, and then next session will be also focusing a little bit more on the practical aspects. So let's start. So before we start, anybody would like to share any thoughts, comments that we had over the last couple of weekends? We had the fortune of association with His Grace Yugal Kisar Prabhu. He spoke so nicely about the mind control, how this mind is so obstinate, so strong, and how we should really control the mind with the proper intelligence, how we should really engage the mind appropriately in a positive way. And then last session, I believe it was also quite interesting, where you heard from one of our devotee practicing Krishna consciousness for a decade or so, through one of these Gita courses, through one of these our Janmashtami programs, and how over the years he has developed himself, even in working in a professional life, like with a family, and still we can take these principles of Bhagavad Gita and we can really use it as a manual, and you can really use it as a compass to really navigate, okay, which direction we should really go forward. Any thoughts, comments from our last sessions? Anybody would like to share? I would be happy to hear from you, like your reflection, because most of the times, we always say, right, like, that's called Simha Avalakana. We always look back, okay, how far we have progressed. Or is it that, okay, now I think almost we are there with close to 3 months, I guess, September, October, November, like how much we have progressed or how much we have understood. How exactly our concepts of the like kind of have evolved over the last couple of weeks. Sometimes it could be a little intriguing to understand all these finer aspects, sometimes complex aspects, but then like as we progress in a school as well, sometimes we don't understand the snake integration symbols or derivative symbols, but then once you stick to it, practice to it, over a period of time, it becomes easier. Okay, di by dx, and then we can really follow those mathematical formulas quite easily. Yes, it really needs some practice and some effort from our side, some endeavor from our side. Okay, anybody would like to share something? We can. So here we are hearing from. Okay. So many devotees have said so many thoughts. Okay, let me just quickly just share 1 or 2 points. So here our Piyush Prabhu is saying that for the last session was wonderful with really live examples said and how we can really apply them into our day-to-day life. And Aishwarya Mataji is saying that yes, she has been very fortunate to be born in a like very sattvic family. But like joining these sessions has really brought a lot more discipline. Thank you, Mataji. So we'll be talking about this a little bit more during this session as well. So thank you very much. So now, thank you, Santosh Pro. You're saying that a wonderful session, lots of information. So as we always say, right, our objective, yes, is to really know more, to get those information, bullet points, so that we can really capture it in our mind, in our brain. At the same time, our focus and our basic objective, we feel really successful when it goes from the head to the heart. Once those information get transformed to transformation of the heart, that is the change that we are really looking for, and we can test ourselves. So we'll be also talking today about some of the aspects. Now, how our scriptures, they give us a lot of litmus test. Once you go to the chemistry lab, we know that okay, this is acid or base, by putting a litmus paper. Similarly, today also we'll try to understand, right, as we are progressing, how we are really going in this direction of spirituality. Okay, thank you very much. So let's proceed further. So today we'll be speaking on like chapter 14 primarily. Of course, we'll be quoting from some other chapters like 17 and 18 as well. Yes, as you see that we are progressing very fast. Of course, because of the paucity of time, we might not be able to cover all the chapters. But yes, we'll try our best to cover as many chapters as possible during this limited time. So so today we'll be focusing on primarily chapter 14, and this chapter 14, this is entitled as the 3 modes of material nature. 3 modes of material nature. And what is the structure of this chapter? It talks about something very beautiful concept called 3 modes. What are the 3 modes? It is mentioned that something called sattvic or mode of goodness, they call it rajasic, the mode of passion, and tamasic, the mode of ignorance. And how these 3 forces act upon us to behave in a certain way, right? When there is a predominance of one mode, like mode of goodness, we behave in a certain way, and once there is a predominance of other mode, we behave in a certain way. And how there is always there's a race for prominence. They always fight against each other to really get the supremacy, to get the predominance of one over the other. Sometimes the mode of goodness wins, sometimes the mode of passion wins, sometimes the mode of ignorance wins. And then we also understand that okay, because of certain conditioning, because of certain upbringing, certain karma, we are kind of being chained with those ropes or those gunas. But then now, how do we really use the present moment, right, so that we can really build our future appropriately? And that's what we are talking about, how we should perform, what actions should we perform to transform our life. And then how do you really live a pure life, without any of this, as you can see, the ropes that is hanging all around us. right? They are making us feel like as a puppets, and puppeteer is there somewhere who is really playing and really making us act in a certain way. So that's why we call this chapter is that yes, we are being trapped. We are being trapped by these chains, by these ropes, by these gunas, like this modes of material nature. These gunas are called ropes, how they are binding us. How in this chapter we'll try to understand how we can come out of, how we can really break free from these bonds, how we can break free from these chains. Okay, so I believe before going there, let me tell you one story. I think, of course, this is not a new story. Most of you might have heard already during their childhood days, or you might have said this story also to your kids or to some children, right? This is a simple that cap seller and the monkey story, right? And how it goes, right? Yes, there was like here in this story. Let's talk about 3 cap sellers were there, topi walas, right? Like how one topi wala. Okay, let's give him the name like Mr. Tamal. Tamal, he was going with a basket full of caps, and then he sat on under a tree just to get free from a little bit of the summer heat, and just with that he took a nap, and he got up and found that his basket is empty, and somehow he got bewildered, he got confused, he got really get panic, don't know what to do at this point of time. He looked left and right, up and down, and yes, he looked up, and then he realized that all these monkeys on the top of the trees, and they are having all the caps, and he started scolding them, abusing them, and with no clue what to do, he started crying and beating his head on the tree, on the stones, and oh, my life is got ruined, my life is doomed, what should I do now? And in a just morose mood, he left that place. He just went to a nearby we can say bar, and got intoxicated and really ruined his life. Okay. On another fine day, right, Mr. Rajan, Mr. Rajan, he came with a cap, with a basket full of caps, and then yes, he also seeing this beautiful ambience, just to get protected from the hot summer, right? He also wanted to take a nap, and he just took a nap, and then he came out, and yes, he also once he came out, just being little refreshed, then he found all his basket was completely empty. And then he also started thinking what happened. He started going around, just trying to search around the all the nearby places. He ran here, he ran there, right? And then he saw that somehow on the top there were these monkeys. Then he started going up the tree, and once he was going up the tree, then all the monkeys, they were really big, all screeching. And then he had no clue what to do. Then he started throwing some stones here and there, and once he started throwing, the monkeys were getting more aggressive, without any clue what to do, being angry and being frustrated, he left. And the other day, right, this Mr. Satya, he came. He also came with a basket full of caps, and he took a nap. And once he woke up from the nap, it was empty. And then he saw what to be done. Yes, he looked up and down, left and right, and then yes, he saw that monkeys were there on top of the tree, and they have all that. And he said for a while, what to do now? What to be done? Okay, I understand, right? If I throw something, they also imitate. Monkeys are good at imitating. He was calm and poised, and then he started kind of throwing his hat, his cap, on the floor, on the ground, and seeing that all the monkeys, they also started throwing their caps to the ground. And then we all know the story, how all the cap seller, he collected all of them, and then he really went to the market, sold them, and went home happily. Okay, so what is the lesson of this story? All of us, I think, are intelligent enough to really understand, how there are dualities in their life, difficulties in their life, challenges in their life, but different persons, they really respond to it or react to it in a different way. Isn't it? Somebody really gets angry and gets frustrated and really breaks his head. Somebody really goes around, right, with so much of action and fight and all that stuff, and then he really finds something, and sometimes he doesn't find something. Other person, right, he kind of before acting something, he thinks, right. Look before we leap, we say, right? So he thinks, okay, what the best I can do at this moment, right? We always tell this another story, right? Especially once you are giving this program in a big hall, like this Gita courses in a big auditorium. Now we ask sometimes the students that, okay, somehow, unfortunately, it should not happen, but if it happens that suddenly there is a fire in this auditorium, what do you do, right? A group of students, they would kind of think that, oh, I'll cry as loudly as possible so that like the authorities, they will come and they will rescue us, and somebody said, oh, I really get fainted, once I see the fire, I can't tolerate it. That's one group. Another group, like, I'll just go around, find out what exactly is the nearest gate or nearest extinguisher. I don't mind really standing on top of somebody or really going around. My objective is to really get out as quickly as possible, right? And a third person might say that intelligently. What do you say that? The child said, okay, maybe I will inform, right, my parents that I'm kind of in this situation, or my friends in this situation, and then I know the number of police or the fire brigade, and I will call right away, right? And then I will ensure that, like, how in this place or in the circumstances, what best I can do to save myself and to save others. What do you think? Are you able to follow the different, right, behavior that we really inculcate, that behavior that gets triggered from us, right, within the same circumstances? Are you able to relate? All right, or let's say, talk about one more example. All of us are going through the, so much of this chaotic environment of COVID and all that. Right? We see that different people, respond to it in a different way. Some people, once they see or hear that one word of COVID, right, they really go crazy. They shut the door, they go really so mad. That, okay, nothing to do, I'm just always sitting at home, why Lord has done this to me, and I'm not able to go anywhere, like a student is saying that, oh, I'm not able to go to school, I'm not able to meet my friends, life is ruined and all that. And another group of like people that, okay, maybe this is the time for me to act, right? Let's go around and, right, try to find out who exactly is really the culprit, and I'll ensure that I really find out, okay, which country is it really, or which person it is, and I will just try to attack. I'll just try to find out. I'll try to find out as much information as possible from the different sites, different places. I'll gather all the new channels, trying to understand the intricacies of the different viruses, how it acts, how it does, how it has killed, how many number of people in which place, all the statistics, right? In which place, who has killed, or or how many numbers, how is it increasing exponentially, or it is, it's in 2 digits, 3 digit, or 72.3, like, all the statistics they will have. Right? And third person is that okay, in this situation, what best I can do for myself and for the community. That, okay, I know that it's a tough situation, it's a difficult, it's unprecedented, but what best I can do, right? And all of us, I think, were those really brilliant ones, right? How we're able to use that time that we get it in a much more productive way, much more in a better way. Yes, sometimes, yes, just 1 year back, exactly 1 year back, right? Because of like circumstances, even we got infected in our family as well. And then, yes, we, with Lord's grace, right, we came out. And yes, we are taking enough precautions, but sometimes something is beyond our control, right? And then, yes, we did the needful, right? We really contacted like our doctors, so like, we talk what exactly is the medicine that we need to take as antivirus or antibacterial, or the nutrients that we need to take, or right, how we should really build up our immunity and so on. And with Lord's grace, we really came out of it, right? So yes, situation once again is the same, but how do you respond to the situation? It really varies from person to person. How does it really, we understand that, like, everybody is really suffering. Everybody is coming up so much of stimuli all around. And remember, during our karma topic, we discussed a very beautiful topic, that this material world, we compared it as a, anybody remembers? This material world, we compared it to one, object or a place. Anybody remembers? We called this material world is a durg. It's called a jail. Do you remember that? Yes, because we have committed some offense, we have done some sinful acts. Now we are here, and once we are here, we also discussed in detail. During that session, what we discussed. We have been like, once you go to a jail, right? You are given different kinds of bodies, right? So, like somebody, gets a kind of stripe color of cloth. Somebody gets, like, white cloth, right? Or once you come to this material world, somebody get this body of animal, or birds, or aquatics, right? Or a human being, or evolved being, right? So like we discussed on that day, right? Like there are 8.4 million species of life, and that's what we call, that's the different kinds of dresses that we get, once we are away from the spiritual world, when we come to the material world. So what happens, if we commit offense and we come to the jail, that we get certain kind of bodies, right? Or certain kind of dresses into the jail. Of course, I don't think any of you have gone, or neither me, but we hear and we, kind of, get to know from different people, right? So yes, they get a different kinds of dress, and after that, what happens? Anybody knows? Especially in like maybe in a picture, or in some books, or you heard it from somewhere or someone. What happens? They change their dress, and what else happens? Depending on their criminality, right, their severity of offense, they are also chained. They are also chained, right, and they are put into different cells. Either it is kind of, all the like one set of criminals, they put into one cell, or they put into right, another single cells, right? And yes, they are bound by different kinds of chains. And sometimes, yes, like if it is maybe big celebrity politician, right? Maybe they will be having a golden, that chains, or if somebody is really a ruffian, low class, then maybe he's really bound by the hard iron chains, right? Different depending on the right, the severity or the personality that you are. You are being put into different cells. Like, some celebrities, they are even given into one cell or chains, right, with all the facilities, even with the library and with a nice bed, what we call house arrest or whatever it is, right? So yes, they change the clothes and they are being chained, and this is what we call as the modes of nature, this tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. They called as, right, Mr. Tamal, Mr. Rajan, and Mr. Satya, right? Yes, they are with that different perspectives, different attributes, and they are really, being bound with that mode of chain because of their karma, because of their karmic balance, right? And then once they go into that jail, what happens? They suffer. They are being punished, with something called pa varga. In the Durga, there are pa varga. Pa varga, like especially in Hindi, right? There's a ka varga, cha varga. It's a pa varga. Pa varga means pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. Right? What is that pa, pha, ba, bha, ma? So whoever comes to this material world, they go through these 5 things. What are those 5 things? Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. What is pa? Parisram. Fe, fena. Bandhan. Bhaya, mrityu. Anybody in this material world who is not being tortured or tormented by this pavarga? कोई है ऐसा जो ये पावर्ग से मुक्त है? That's why our Shastra says that we have to attain apavarga. What is it? Apavarga means ये pavarg से हमको निकलने का है ना? ये परिश्रम. परिश्रम कैसे? Everybody is working hard. Working hard in so many different ways. If somebody has $1 billion, he wants to have multi-billion dollar. Somebody is really, begging for a penny, right? He's trying to beg so much that he can have maybe hundreds of rupees, right? Or a software engineer, he works so hard. Okay, I want working for one project. I want to work for another, big, very critical, challenging, development project. Everybody is really working so hard, and while working so hard, with so much of sweat and blood, right? It doesn't happen that somebody works happily, joyfully. No, right? You see how right people get so much of stress and anxiety. Etadhi atura chittanam, right? So much of chinta, so much of sweat and blood, so much of anxiety they have. Everybody. Like even like somebody, when you say, oh, housewife, oh, what is the tension? What is the anxiety? You see, like especially during this COVID time, even the mothers or the ladies, they are having so much work, and sometimes they take the precautions that not to allow anybody, even the maids, and they have to take care of all the household chores. It's not easy to take care of that. Like like husband says something, kids say something, they are really sleepless. They are really in so much of anxiety. But then we, the more we do it, the more we get entangled. Nobody is satisfied. And the more we try to satisfy them, right? Either our family members or our colleagues or the boss or our relatives or our friends, the more we try to satisfy them, the more become unhappy. And the more we really try to make them happy, they become more unhappy. We really get bounded. You get more and more entangled. Like we give this example of spider web. An insect is really trying more and more to get free from that spider web. It gets more and more entangled. Similarly, for all of us, the more and more we're trying to be happy, the more and more we are really getting more, sinful reactions. And then with all that, at each point of time, there is so much of fear. And there is no explanation required at this moment. Everybody is so much of fearful. What will happen at the next moment? Bhaya, there is a bhaya, so much of fear that what is going to happen next. Always thinking about the future. Hardly we stay in the present moment. And then, yes, everybody is really end up right in that cremation ground or burial ground. Whoever he or she is, anybody can escape out of it? No. Yes. So we said that this material world is a Durga. Everybody has given certain type of body, right? Like we talked about 8.4 million species of life. And then everybody is chained with these 3 modes of nature, this sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic. Sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And with that cloth and with that chain, everybody is really suffering so much. There is no exception to it. Everybody is suffering in this pavarga, parisram, fena, bandhan, bhaya, and mrityu. And yes, now as we really go forward to really understand how can we now really get out of this jail, get out of this bondage, how to really understand that, yes, because most of the times we don't acknowledge and realize that we are in the jail. We always say that we think that we are in a hotel and we have come here to do just masti, enjoy madi. But we have to really realize that yes, I have to come out of this jail, right? I have to break free from the bonds. Somebody is really pulling all my strings. How can I really be free from those strings? And that's where we need to realize, okay, what are those chains are? What are those chains are? Okay, let's now think of one family. Okay, where the husband, okay, we'll give that husband's name, Mr. Uh, Mr. Grumble, Mr. Grumble. So Mr. Tom Grumble, he's always, bombarded with so much of work, at office. He hardly finds, time to think about, okay, what exactly is all the deliverables are. And he always thinks that I'm really going mad. He's calling, my boss is calling, my employee is calling, my team member is calling, my customer is calling. I don't know what to do. I'm really going, crazy. Right. And then what the best thing I can do? Just, have a glass of drink and then chill, just masti madi and then go and sleep. And then once I really get up, then, my spouse, Mrs. Grumble, she starts grumbling. Oh, you're not doing anything, you're good for nothing. You're just sleeping and drinking, and, who will take care of the house, right? And then, he gets really bombarded and all that. Because Mrs. Grumble, she thinks that, I was, you see what the others are doing, they have the other families, they have so much, right? And you are not bringing anything for me. And you see our children, right? How pity they are not getting what they want, right? Like the list goes on and on. But under the students of this family, they really get mad with that, fighting of mother and father. They don't know what to do. They really, just spend their own time in their own ways, thinking, what to do next. And they see like how their parents are always thinking of being dependent on somebody. And always their mood is dependent, either dependent on some drugs, or dependent on some drinks, or dependent on, right, on the sleep, dependent on others to sustain themselves for their living. This is the mood of dependence, the mood of, slave mentality, right? So are we really making up all these words, all these points? You will be surprised to know that, right, how beautifully in Bhagavad Gita these qualities of people who are in this mode of ignorance are described so succinctly and so powerfully. And I would like to hear now. Let's hear now from this 14th chapter, this 13th verse. Aprakasa aprabrutischa pramada moha evacha tamosi etani jayante bibrudhe kurunandana. Anybody would like to read? Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to read the translation? Okay, you can unmute yourself or you can raise your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness and illusions are manifested. Bhagavad Gita 14.13.
Yes, yes. The qualities of the people who are in this mode of ignorance or tamasi. What is that? Pramada, moha. They are always in that madness, in that illusion. They're in that mode of aprakasa, in the darkness. They're not in the light. All their senses are in ignorant. They don't know what is right and wrong. They don't have that power of discrimination. If something comes, just do it without thinking what is going to happen to me or to my family or to anywhere else. They are completely in ignorance. Aprakasa. Okay, you see the attributes. What are they? Darkness, and just they go with the flow. They call inertia. They go with the flow, right? And completely mad. Called pramatta. They are called pramada. Completely in illusion. Their eyes are completely covered. Like we say that, right? If somebody is wearing like a blue spectacle, right? Like especially during the children days, right? We wear the spectacles with the blue tinted glass or orange tinted glass or green tinted glass, and depending on the color of the glass, we see the world accordingly. So depending on the attributes that we have, right, we see the situation, we see the world accordingly. And how do the people who are in the mode of ignorance they see? They're always, their thought process, their qualities are always in darkness, in madness, and in illusion. Is that enough? No, they are going further. Lord is saying to Arjuna, and we can see that how these words are so practical that we can really do that litmus test within ourselves. We can see ourselves, which mode am I in? And then this verse from 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this 28th verse, it says, Ayukta prakruta stabdha satho naiskritika lasa visadi dirgha sutrecha karta tamasa uchyate. Anybody else who would like to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Bhagavad Gita 18.28.
What is the mood of the worker? The mood of the worker, they don't follow the rules and regulation. I'll just do what I like. Main man ka raja hoon. Right? So they say, right, like main man ka raja hoon. Actually, they are not man ka raja, they are the gulam of the man. They are man ke das hai wo. Right? If you are man ka raja, if you are the control of the mind, then you do what exactly is the right thing to do. But because you are so much of control, like that's what we heard in those last sessions. Your mind can be the enemy or can be friend, depending on, right, if this mind are controlled or uncontrolled. Right? If the mind is really following the rules and regulations, the scriptures, then yes, it is going the right direction. If it is going against, right, and obstinate, right, I don't want to listen to anybody, I am right. People that they are so obstinate. My way or highway. I don't want to hear anybody else. And my propensity is to how can I really cheat by hook or crook, by beg, borrow, steal. I want to make money. Expert in insulting others, chastising others, blaspheming others, either family members or the kids or the employees, right? Whoever, they just find ways to really, find faults with others in different ways. And with that, they want to do something. No. Just chill, Madi, enjoy. Okay, oh, this all happened to me. I'm so unfortunate. I'm so, unlucky, right? Okay, if there is something to be done, something said, okay, why don't you do something? Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. And will that tomorrow comes any point of time? Never. Tomorrow never comes. And these are the qualities of the mode of ignorance. Okay, Lord goes on further. He's saying that yad agre chanu bandhe cha sukham mohanam atmana nidra alasya pramadautham tattamasam udahrutam. Once again, he gives three more, right? Nidra, alasya, pramada. Yes, somebody please read.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will read. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance.
Anybody is able to relate to these qualities? That what? Yes, we always, would like to, take, especially in this kind of weather, especially in Bangalore or, like where it is so gloomy, so dark, it's a little rainy, right? We don't want to do anything else, just, take a warm blanket and go and sleep, right? They don't do anything, neither for themselves, for their work, for their family, forget about the spirituality, right? They don't want to do anything else, They think that, okay, the life is meant for just having fun. Okay, so This is what, in essence, that we talked about. But let's talk about the second category of people who are in the mode of passion. And then we talked about Mr. Rajan. Mr. Rajan, how he wants to do more and more, just run around, want to be the Mr. Passion, right? Achieving everything. And at the end of the day, I want to be a billionaire and really known as the most famous celebrity. I want to really achieve the summit. I want to be really the champion. And like all the, like especially the parents, they really like their children, to be the best sports person, best singer, best cricketer, best badminton player, best student, and best, what else? The number, the list goes on and on, right? And like the husband wants a wife, like, okay, this, that, and wife wants, all the list that goes on and on and on, right? Like here, the prominent qualities, what are they, right? They want to be just independent. They want to be independent. Yes, मैं अपनी पैर में खड़े होके कुछ दिखाना चाहता हूँ, है ना? That is a mood of passion, right? And what are those qualities? Lord is saying, lobha prabrutir arambha karmanam asamaspruha rajasi etani jayante bibrudhe bharatarshava. Please read. Yes, Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to read? Yes. Yes,
Yes, Prabhuji. I can read.
I think we can continue. Yes,
Hello?
Mr. Kumar Prabhu or Piyush Prabhu, any of you, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Of
Good.
thus, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment,
Fruitive activity,
intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
See the qualities of the passion or the rajas, like what is it? Asamaspruha, uncontrollable desire. The desires, there is no end to it. What I want to achieve in the life. Yes, I'm a project manager, next program manager, then manager, senior manager, director, VP, CEO, chairman, board of directors. Okay, not one company, multiple companies, not multiple companies, now the enterprise, right? And the list goes on and on and on and on, right? Or maybe for a family, okay, no, we are not enough with this 1 BHK house, 2 BHK house, a bungalow, and then right, a palace, right? Oh, for the kids, no, I want to really, not only kind of maybe have the best of the things in my life, right? Best of the toys, best of the right, all the things that I want to really showcase myself, that yes, I am the man, right? The asama spruha. And they are known for their so much of attachment, that okay, right, I have so much of opulence today, so much of zeros in my bank balance, and I want to add further more zeros, and I want to showcase myself that, oh, मेरे पास क्या है, तेरे पास क्या है, मेरे पास गाड़ी घर बंगला है, तेरे पास क्या है. We always showcase, want to showcase with others, but yes, within the heart it's empty, but outside, we want to showcase our superiority, with others, because in spite of all, still my heart is empty. Because of that, I want to get more and more. Because if somebody is satisfied, right? A beggar may be satisfied, or maybe some simple family might be satisfied that they live like king size. But if somebody is really living in a palace, but he's always hankering, he's a little beggar. Right? Like, so it's not about like, how much I have, but how much content I am, right? Once again, we are not saying that this mode of passion is wrong or the mode of ignorance is wrong. Even the mode of ignorance, if you don't have a mode of ignorance, if you don't sleep appropriately, yes, we ruin our health. right? If you don't have mode of passion to work, right? What will we do for our living? But then, right? What exactly is prominent in our whole life? That's what we are talking about here, right? Okay, let's continue. What are the other qualities of mode of passion? Ragi karma phala prepsu, lubdha himsa samakta suchi, harso sokanvita karta, rajasa parikirtita. Yes, please.
Yeah, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, I'll read Prabhuji.
Yes, Vinodini Mataji, please.
The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. Bhagavad Gita 18.27.
So here we once again, the worker, like he is so much attached to the result. How much hike I am getting, what is the profit, adoration, distinction, the possessions, all that stuff. That is the aim of life, right? What the result that I am getting out of, like what's in it for me, right? Like even we have that, like especially somebody was saying, even in a husband-wife relationship also, we come up with an Excel. Okay, I went twice to your mother's house, and okay, like you should ensure that we also visit our mother's house twice, right? They have not a relationship, but a balanced Excel scorecard in their house. And that's all about life nowadays, right? Always attached to the numbers, the scorecard, and the fruits, the results. Always, right? It's not that what exactly, right, I have, but I should compare with what my neighbor is having, what my relative is having. Always being envious, always, thinking with this mode of, right, either past or the future, always flying in these two wings. Always, thinking about the joy. Oh, I got the best of the things, and next day, oh, I lost it. Right? Always kind of, they are in this oscillation mode, joy and sorrow, success and failure, and so on. Okay, next, what Lord is saying. Yeah, Visayandriya samyoga yattat agre amrutopamam pariname visam eva tatsukham rajasam smritam. Yes.
That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be the nature of passion.
Okay, so what is happening? So whatever we do, right, now we have to put some effort. We have to pay a price for it, right? So especially in the mode of passion, what happens? Once you do something, once you get something, you feel so much of pleasure out of it in the beginning, but at the end, so much of pain. In just last our food for soul session, we were discussing about this topic. If somebody, right, he's having some problem, like maybe some piles or some ulcer in the rectum, right, and then doctor has advised, that you don't take any solid food. But then the friends come and they say that, okay, let's have some party, we have brought some pizza, burger, some paratha, and some palau, and so on. Yes, the person who is suffering, he knows that, right? Doctor has said to me that I should not take it, but the tongue says, no, this is so delicious. Friend saying, oh, chill, muddy man, let's have fun, right? And he's not able to control, he's not able to enjoy. Yes, there is some pleasure with the tongue, and he just goes with the flow, right? And then what happens? There is a poison next day morning, right? People are not aware, even in the student life, sometimes, especially as a parents, we can relate to it, right? Like, there are two things called, something called prayers, something called shreyas. They always look for the instant enjoyment. Everything is now instant coffee, instant dosa, instant, right? Everything we want to do, right? Just get it, right? But then with that, right, we don't try to understand that, okay, what is there, how it exactly is really impacting my tomorrow or my next year. Now, I don't want to think anything about it, right? It's giving happiness, let's go and play. Even if, right, there is a exam tomorrow or next week there is an exam, right? Let's sometimes as a parents we think, oh, why he's wasting time. But then our elders or like the spiritual masters, right? They think that, oh, why he's really wasting time, right? Like as we are thinking for our children, or the spiritual master or the mentors, the guides, that he has a so much beautiful now atmosphere, that okay, he has now enrolled for this Gita course, right? Now he has been attending, but still, why he's not utilizing it properly? Why he kind of just sometimes attends, sometimes doesn't attend, so he has so many excuses, right? Now thinking like that, because at that point we don't think that this is really the right thing. We think that, oh, this is poison. You'll see that once you'll go to in the mode of goodness, right? In the mode of passion, initially it looks so nice, but at the end it's poison. But once you go into the mode of goodness, you'll find that initially, yes, it might like little bitter, little difficult, but at the end, there is a good, there is amrita, there is a nectar. That's how we can really identify. Yet it's not that whatever tastes bitter, right? That's bad for us. But we need to understand. Okay, this is called a phalena parichayate, right? Like we should understand what is the fruit that is coming out of it. It's not that, okay, I got some seed, I have to just water it. Okay, I need to understand what is that seed is all about. So how are acharyas, especially in Bhagavad Gita, how so practical things, they are talking about here, right? So now we are coming into the mode of goodness, where this family of Mr. Satya or Mr. Steve Bright, they are so cheerful, they are doing their responsibility appropriately. This family, they are coming and sitting together, having some sattvic food, before doing something, they are offering everything to the Supreme Lord, and they are spending time there with their children, and the children also excelling, in their duties, so peaceful, where there is interdependency, right? So first we saw, what do we saw first? We saw there is a dependency. Then we saw independence. Then there is a interdependence. We depend on each other, for the growth of the family, for the growth of community, for the growth of the society. This is what the community of goodness. It is not that they are stagnant; they are growing together. That is the mode of goodness, right? Are you able to relate so far? Everybody is with us. We have been speaking so many concepts, so many words, so many attributes. Everybody is okay so far? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So now I would request whoever has not read it, please come forward to read it, so that everybody gets opportunity to read these beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Once it comes from our mouth, and our heart also gets transformed. Let's give opportunity to everybody. Okay. Sarvadvaresu dehesmin prakasa upajayate jnanam yada tada vidya vibrodham sattvam iti uta. Yes, we have Chaitanya Prabhu or Jayanti Mataji. Anyone of you?
Yes, Prabhuji. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Bhagavad Gita 14.11.
So here, like in the mode of goodness, right? We are saying that all the gates of our body, Navadvaras, they get illuminated by knowledge. What are the Navadvaras? We said this is the body, this is the, like we call city of 9 gates. And what are those gates are? Especially 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, mouth, and genitals, and rectum. Right? This is the 9 bodies, especially in a house, right, or in a city, right? We understand that if that okay, these are the 9 gates through which enemy can enter. And if we know that the enemies will enter through the 9 gates, we'll put CCTV camera and we'll really put all the weapons and everything so fortified, right? All these gates, right? And we really put so much of light. We don't put them into darkness, because in the darkness the enemy comes in a hiding way, right? So a person knows that how I should be awake, how I should keep all my this Navadvaras in completely in knowledge. Light means knowledge. Darkness means ignorance. Is it clear? How I will discriminate, I will judge, I will think before I hear, before I see, before I smell, before I taste, before I use my rectums or genitals. I will think before I act.
So that's what it means, that all these gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Not that they are in ignorance and they will just go with the flow without any discrimination. Okay, so let's continue. This once again, what is the quality of mode of goodness? Once again, prakasa, all right, jnanam, sukham, vidyam. Okay, so let's continue. Mukta sanganaham vadi dhruti utsaha samanvita siddhi asiddhya nirvikara karta sattvika uchyate. Yes, please.
Yeah, where is this?
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, please.
That it's not, translation is not coming. 1 minute. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness.
So here, what we are saying, the worker, right, or a professional who works, they are focusing on the process, not about the result, right? Like recently, a couple of students, they were appearing for the exam, like for CBSE and ICSE, and I was, addressing the students, and I was telling that once, we are having a test for the process, right? The result will come automatically. Results also will love us. Once we love the process, once you're attached to the process, result also will love us. Result also will follow automatically. But then once we are so much of attached to the result, right? And we are really hating the process. We are hating the process, but focusing only on the result. No, I don't want to work. I just want to get a first class. But then what will happen? Results will hate us. Once we hate the process, the result will hate us. So, but a person who is in the mode of goodness, they are focusing more on the process, not on the result. They are focused, what can I do now, right? We talk about the students, we'll discuss, right? Like, how, there are different kinds of students, right? Like, especially once you go to this engineering or medical, wherever we go, right? You'll see different kinds of students. One kind of students that, okay, they really study, like initially they start with some Indian author books, like especially in the engineering, right? And then they start with foreign author books. And the last moment, right? Like 1 week before exam, they collect all the points and they revise that, they solve the sample papers, right? And they really prepare accordingly, very nicely, in a sober way, calm way, right? They take enough sleep, and the next day they go for the exam. And then the son of Mr. Passon, what they do? Oh, exam is there, just have fun before the exam. But on the day of exam, you ensure that you have a sleepless nights, get the notebook from your friends, and find out, okay, who has the nice notebook, and make a Xerox of everything, and make a point, and have a sleepless nights. And and that's where the focus is, that okay, somehow or other, ensure that you get something, right? Or in the meantime, okay, maybe somebody is really trying to compete and fight and all that stuff. And another person, another group of students also, like we see that, okay, somehow or other we have entered the college, and now it is the responsibility of the college to take us out. Right? They are not worried that whether how much score we'll get it, or which campus will go, right? Or whatever, mala might, I don't care. I don't want to know anything else. My focus is just to chill, either the day of the exam, or before the exam, right? You see, right? How every, right, whatever we do, or whatever situation we are, whatever roles and responsibility we have, right? We will all find these three, right? But then how to proceed, right? Okay, we'll just, before that, we'll just talk about a couple of more good qualities of the mode of goodness. Okay. Yat tat agre visam eva pariname amrutopamam tat sukham sattvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Yes, please. Anybody?
Hello, Prabhuji. This is Santosh.
Yes, bro. Please go ahead.
That which is in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end it is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Bhagavad Gita 18.37.
Yes. Now we discussed about this, right? Yes. Initially, it might be difficult for us, right? Like to sit for chanting or study regularly, or to cook some sattvic food, right? Yes, who will really do all that stuff? Okay, let's get some instant food, right? Who cares, what will happen to our body next moment or next year? Like they say, right? Like, if you don't care of our body for the first half of our life, and if we just try to eat junk food and all the meat products, the first half of our life, in the second half of our lives, we have to spend our life with all the medicines or going a number of times to the hospitals or the doctors, right? It's so natural, right? And but the person who has really going through a regulated life, like as you said, yes, regulated life means it's like a poison, but then, right, that person is really maintaining the urja, maintaining this power, maintaining the sattvicness, throughout his life. What do we prefer, right? The short term, right, happiness or the long term happiness? And it's not only for this life, we are really investing for the lifetimes. So that's what, we really need to understand these three modes of nature so beautifully, so much in detail. And not only understand it, but as we said very much in the beginning, it's not that information, it should lead to transformation of our heart. How we should really apply this principles in our own life, that how, right, we can really, once again test ourselves, right? I'm really living just a life of dependence with all the sense objects, or right, for so many things, or I'm just living, right, okay, this is my way, I'll just continue, I don't care about the family, community, or society, or anything else, just, as long as I am getting what I want, I don't care for anything else, right? And another is that, yes, it's not about me, we have to grow together as a family, right? How, right, in this journey, it's not about me winning, but as a family, how can we live a very sattvic life? The family, they pray together, they stay together, they sing together, right? They cling together, right? They dance together, they advance together, right? It's about family, it's about, in the job, in the right community, in the society, right? How, right? Like even we can see this also in the animal lifestyle as well. Like we have seen these camels, what they do, right? They chew the thorns, right? And by chewing the thorns, they feel, oh, it's so nice. By chewing the thorns, and the blood comes out, and they take that blood and they feel that, oh, this blood is so tasty. But they don't realize that the blood is coming from their tongue, right? Or the king, lion or tiger, they are always in the mood to attack. Or we see the cows, how peaceful, they ruminate, and even if they take the dry grass and they give us the milk, that is the quality that mother cow is all about. Yeah, isn't it so wonderful? How we can learn from the nature this concept of modes of nature, right? We already talked about the student life, right? How somebody is really lazy, procrastinating, getting really mad once they see the book, or the other one just reading the for the exam, or the students, how they are so regulated life, and they really become the champion at the end of the day. ऐसा नहीं कि आज भर्ती कल चक्रवर्ती होते हैं कोई, राइट? सो यू हैव टू जो भी कोई बड़ा बनना चाहते हैं उसको बोलते हैं ना, बेलना पड़ता है बहुत, राइट? सो यू हैव टू रियली go through a discipline, go through a consistency in the life, right? So like it's the same, right, everywhere, right? Like either as I said, student life or a family life or a corporate life, right? And then we can just do a quick, maybe 30 seconds pause. So this time we'll not do a poll, right? We don't want you to tell us where we are, but you can just pause, you can just reflect, where am I, right? Like especially nowadays we hear that all the family members, they are busy with their own devices, though they are staying together in the same umbrella for now days and weeks and months, hardly they speak to each other, because they would like to spend some time with somebody who is a so-called friend who hardly cares for us, right? Sending a message to them, but then like we hardly spend time with our family members, right? Or we want to spend time, means spend time by fighting, right? And because why? We'll talk about it. Why all the things really, so interlinked, so interlinked. Okay, so you have tested yourself, which mode you are in. And by the way, right, it's not that, as we discussed earlier also, all the time we are, in the one mode, right? just like we see there's a mixture of the paint, right, or the strands of the rope, right? It's all intermixed together, right? It's not that always we are in a mode of goodness or mode of passion or mode of ignorance, like they're called the primary colors, what is called yellow, red, and blue, right? And once they really get mixed together, they bring different emotions, different paints, right? So similarly, our life also is really mixed with these three modes, by twisted, by interviewing, again and again. And that's how the different flavor comes at different point of time, right? And yes, with all that, you see the multiple ropes coming from the, this multiple personification of this, modes, passion or ignorance or, goodness. And they really, bind us, they force us to kind of go in the same direction. So now, right? So here, what do we hear? That there is this fighting happening. What kind of fighting happening? Rajas tamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata raja sattvam tamaschaiva tamas sattvam rajas tatha. Yes, please, somebody can read.
I will read, Prabhuji. I'll read.
Yes, Kalpana.
Kalpana.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Thank you. So we said that how there is always fighting. So we must be thinking that, oh, my mind is cool. No, they are always fighting, right? All the sattva, rajas, and tamasic. They are fighting for the supremacy of each other at all the time. So now we might be thinking, what should I do now? There is so much of fighting happening in my mind, in my consciousness, in my heart. All these three forces are really tormenting me. What should I do? Is there any way to come out of it? Okay, Lord is not, just keeping us in a hopeless, helpless situation. He is giving us the clue how we can progress, right? But somebody might ask, right? Is there a need for us to progress, to like higher levels, right? From the ignorance to the passion to the mode of goodness, do you think, right, for us, primarily, there is a need for us to go into this jnanam, sukham, right? Instead of just this indriya trupta, focusing on the result, focusing on, my life, or just in a dependent life, the alasya, pramada, right? What do you think, right? Is it important for us, right? Like to move from this mode of ignorance to passion and to the mode of goodness, where we really think before we live. We think before we act. We illuminate, all our senses, all our gates before we respond to it, right? Somebody might think, why it is required. We give this example that, right? Sometimes in our live sessions, we take three globes. One like surgical gloves of the doctor, one is a cricket glove, another is a boxer glove, right? And then we tell that, okay, bring a volunteer, and then we say that, okay, there is this needle and this is thread. We tell three volunteers, okay, with these three globes, try to now sew the thread, right? Who do you think, would find it easier to sew the thread, right? With that surgical gloves of the doctor, or is that cricket gloves, or that boxer glove? Who do you think can do that better? Yes, doctor, that surgical gloves, because it is really covered with that finer things, right? But in the mode of ignorance, we are covered with so much of anarthas, layers of darkness, right? We cannot understand the subject matter of the soul, right? If somebody is really drunk and intoxicated, focused on gambling and meat eating, that thing will not go into the mind, right? Now it will not go into the mind. So we have to progressively, we have to elevate ourselves now from the mode of ignorance, to the mode of passion, to the mode of goodness, right? Unless we do that, like this higher subject matters will not enter into our heart. Right, we have seen, especially in this book month of Marathon, like we celebrate, this month as a Gita Jayanti month. We celebrate Bhagavad Gita and we distribute Bhagavad Gita and we go on the street, right, all of us, and distribute it. And then somehow we come across, right, some people, they find it so hard, right? Like all the devotees who are, so well qualified, but then, in a mood of helping others, in a mood of compassion, they go out, But then some people, they spit on them. Some people really, they smoke and they really, put their like smoke on right in front of their people, right? Some people, they really trash. There was one lady, right, like in Paris, he was really thrown apart from the train, right? So many devotees, but their heart is full of compassion. They wanted to elevate everybody, because that's what our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada has done. By going through so much of difficulties, he want to offer that love, this instructions of Bhagavad Gita to others. That how can all these people can get elevated, right, from this ignorance, from the passion to the mode of goodness, right? And how we can do it? Now, is there any formula? Is there any criteria? Yes. Now, Lord is saying, beautiful principle. Purusa prakriti sthahi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangasya sad asadyani janmaso. Yes, please.
Can I read? The living entity is material nature, thus follows the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.22.
So it's a very, very important. Please, I have highlighted this once again in the bold and a big letters. What is that keyword? Association. We are what we associate with, right? This is very, very important. Yeah? Where we associate, that qualities we get. That's why we say, like, even for the children, we get more worried about their friends, with whom my children is really associating with. Or somebody says, right, I will know about you by understanding who are your friends, right? So association is so very, very important, because with that association, we got those qualities. Why we are requesting, begging everybody to please come to this satsang? It's not that we are great, but because these words of the scriptures are great, because the word that is coming from Srila Prabhupada, that is great, right? Once we associate with the scripture, once we associate with the practitioners of this wonderful philosophy, our heart gets transformed. We really elevate ourselves, right, from this mode of ignorance to the passion and to the mode of goodness. Right? That association. That's why it is lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddha hai. Right? Just a little bit association with the pure devotees. Once we be there, once we really follow that instructions, it can really transform our life. And how do we start now? Right? Somebody might ask, okay, what to do? Right? Right? Yes. Initially, right, we go through a stage called unconscious incompetence. You don't know what is right and wrong. Right? And one time somebody is asking, oh, somebody might not know. But now, yes, we are moving into, okay, what is right and wrong? We are now conscious. What is my incompetence? What is wrong? Right? And then once we understand that I should, right, do it, I should follow it. I should follow the right thing. Right? Then I should move to a stage called conscious competence. Right? Consciously, I'm trying. Yes, I'm not the perfect there. But yes, I'm trying day by day, little bit by little bit. And then it's just a matter of time, unconsciously, right? I'll really develop that competency, right? Initially, yes, I didn't know that, okay, there are three levels like this: ignorance, passion, and goodness. And there are different environments, different qualities. And now I'm conscious of them, right? What is good and what is bad and what exactly in the progressive in nature. And then subconsciously, right? Right? Yes, I didn't know that, but now I am aware of it. Right? What are those incompetence or wrong or bad qualities are, and now how should really practice them. And then once we do it over a period of time, then it will be just a matter of time that it will be our second nature. Right? Right? So how do you do it? Right? Yes, how we should start by, the nature is giving us always multiple choices, right? Like as the exams are nowadays, right? Like all MCQs. Yes, it is. We have to find out what is the right one. Always life will give ultimate choice points to all of us. We always say, you might remember, we say our life is a segment of D and D. Like in a geometry, we say, it is fixed for us, right? Our birth and death. We have a certain lifespan that Lord has given to us. And in that lifespan of B and D segment, there are so many C's, so many choice points that Lord has given. In that choice point, what exactly the right choice that I make, so that I can deepen, I can really increase the quality of my life, right? Making the right choice at each moment, right? And then once I make the right choice, I have to follow that right choice, right? Once I get the discrimination, I should be determined to follow that right direction, right? I should go in that, I should follow that. It's not that, oh, I know that this is right, but I don't know I should follow it or not. If I know this is right, I should follow it. Why should I really be hesitant? Why should I really doubt in that, right? And then it's not that, okay, I should do it once. I should do it consistently. I should do it regularly. I should do it daily, right? Then it becomes a habit, right? And yes, we have to now think of ourselves. Now let's take 2 minutes, if you are okay. Let's take 2 minutes. We'll do just a practical exercise now. That you always request, have a pen and paper or whatever you have. Now let's do a practical exercise, because as I said, right, our focus is on the transformation. It's not just getting, oh, so many beautiful points we got in today's session. No, our focus, how can we really drive the change in our life? Now let's identify one bad attribute that I have. Okay, maybe I'm smoking, I'm kind of drinking. Oh, okay, I'm really getting angry. Oh, I'm really not able to spend time with something. Okay, just define a bad habit or bad quality, right, that I would like to stop. Right, please note it down. Just 10 seconds. Just have some pen and paper. Just write it down. What are the bad attributes that you have now recognized that, oh, I sleep too much. Oh, I always don't take others' opinion. I always feel my way is the highway, right? Okay, whatever the attribute that you feel that we should stop, or you don't like others, right? In others, right? Before pointing out others' fault, we should see that if I have that bad quality, and how, let me focus on myself. Okay, I'm not really talking about finding fault or bad habit with others, right? This is self-introspection. This is self-change we are trying to drive. Now, please write it down. Okay, I think you must have written whatever it is that is specific to you. Now, right, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord is saying again and again, it is not that we have to stop that bad habit right away. We cannot stop that. We cannot do that right away. We have to find a higher taste. We have to find a positive alternative to it. And Lord is saying, Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasa varjam rasapasya param drushtya nivartate. Lord is saying, param drushtya, we have to find a higher taste. Like I always give this example, if child is really busy with playing the scissor or right some knife, we have to give a positive alternative. We give a ball. If somebody is really finding it hard, right, to wake up early in the morning, okay, what exactly the alternative to early in the morning, right? We find something interesting to work on, right? If somebody is really addicted to something, right, what can the positive alternate that I can do so that my mind get diverted from that, right? Especially, right, like we create a right environment, right? If you don't want to do something, we keep that very away, and if you want to start something, we keep it very near to us. What are the positive attributes that I want to develop? I want to be a good mother. I want to stop being angry. I want to appreciate others, right? I want to spend my time, in a very productive way, right? Whatever it is, please write down at least 3 points, not more than that, right? And then this is very important, very important. What is the rationale behind this change? Why do you think that it will help you? Because unless we focus on this head, right, why, right, we will not be able to do it. There has to be a strong reason for that change. Why we should be sufficiently convinced that this is the right path, right? We should understand rationally, from intellectually, from our mind perspective, from the scriptures. Why do you think that this is the right path, right? And not only that, our heart, not only our head, but our heart also should be aligned. How? What is the inspiration? What is the motivation behind it? How it really affects my family? What exactly the difference it will make to myself or to my family or to the community, right? Or to my job, whatever it is, right? Or to my spiritual life. How exactly it will make? What is the inspiration behind it? What is the motivation? What is our heart saying, right, to drive this change? Hope you have written some of the thoughts here. And now finally, right, how determined we are to act on that change, right? Yes, we decided what we would like to stop, the positive alternate that we would like to develop, and then what is the rational, what is the intellectual, reason behind this change? What is the heart? What is the motivation? What is the inspiration? What is the change that we would like to make it within ourselves? And then what? Now the hand, right? I have to act on it. Not once, every day. How am I determined to act on that path, to make it happen, so that I don't give up in between? That, okay, I remember, right, one of the devotee of our this Gita course, like during this Damodar month, she said that, she said, one of our volunteer, please ensure that, please remind me, sometimes I forget, to offer lamps. And this devotee, he was regularly, reminding, okay, please offer a lamp. And just over a period of time, right? And she just did it, not only, every day, but also she invited, her family members, everybody, and really organized a very wonderful Damodar program. This is happening, one of our Gita course member, thank you very much. Right? It gives so much of inspiration that how the small change during this Damodar, like this is what we talked about. The small change during this Damodar, it really brought that transformation, not only within ourselves, but we became an instrument of the transformation in others as well. Right? That's the beauty of this life. Right? How, right, we can do that small big changes. Right? And how do we do it? Right? Just before we wrap up today, I just like to say one thing, right? Like, start small, right? We say, okay, start one round, start offering it just lamp, just start small, anything, some good qualities, and then do it consistently. Do it consistently every day. Those good things, please do it every day. And third thing, and increment, have a small increment, right? If I'm just doing one round, okay, maybe after 15 days, I'll do 2 rounds. After 15 days, I'll do 4 rounds, right? Have some increment, right? Don't really stagnate the good things. Oh, I'm really getting, right, a businessman, right? Like, I would really like to earn more. A spiritually greedy person also. Yes, I would like to develop more and more spiritual habits, right? So that, yes, we should start small, all the good things. We should do it consistently. We should make it daily, regularly, and then we should make a program. We should make a habit, right? We should be determined to increment it also. We should not stay, like even in a river also. If you don't put effort, we just go flow downstream. That if you, because yes, we are, swimming upstream. It's not easy. It's not easy. Whole world is really going towards the hell, right? And all of us are trying together to go upstream, right? And we have to put a lot of effort, right? Without putting effort, we'll also just go away, right? Yes, but it's possible with all of your association. Thank you very much. So with that, just maybe 2 minutes we can have for any Q&A that, or any reflection, any comments, or any practical exercise that we just performed. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it was a wonderful session today. It's really inspiring, and thank you very much for your motivation. And it's a request that don't finish this course after 9 weeks. Please continue.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
It motivates a lot. God bless you. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other comments, questions? Okay, Piyush Prabhuji is saying there is exemplary. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It gives a lot of enthusiasm for us as well to share what we have learned. Sujata Mataji, you want to say something? You put your video on. Sujata Kumari Mataji or anybody else? Okay, Ranjana Mataji, thank you. So, okay, thank you very much. So, so just before we end, we'll just quickly wrap up today's session. This, yes, we'll continue with so many practical examples that how we can make our life and how we can really associate with so many good things, right? With our sound, with our eating, with our right behavior, with our family members, how we can create the right ambience, right? So that we can break free from all the bonds, right? We'll continue our next session on this. And then, yes, by the way, like we talked about that, yes, this is the month where we really focus, we really pay our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, right? And to this Bhagavad Gita. And with that, we really want to not only get benefited ourselves, but we want to distribute as many Bhagavad Gita as possible. And this is our request, that if you somehow really feel that get benefited, right, please help us in really this sharing this message of Bhagavad Gita, right? Like, with that, like, so many devotees come forward, they, right, take these books and they distribute themselves, right? And some devotees have sponsored that, okay, they will take care of the shipping charges, right? So if you order online, right, this will be free of cost as well, right? Free of shipping, and there are some discounts available, and there's special coupons are also there for special days like Gita Jayanti and so on, right? So it's really a shower of mercy that is really awaited, right? And I would request all of you to really, join with us, and please help us in really distributing this Bhagavad Gita. There is nothing better than this sweet instruction, this nectar that is coming from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna, this in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Yes, there are some very beautiful video series also there. Maybe you can enroll that to get small video snippets of each of the slokas. Or if you would like, right, if somebody says, oh, I have Bhagavad Gita already, then please, help us in, right, donating something so that we can distribute in some schools or some unprivileged, schools. Or if you want, you can come, and we usually put their names as well, and then, right, we can go together and distribute in, some schools, some villages and things like that. So in any way, if you can help us, we would be really grateful. Thank you very much. Yes, we'll continue our Food for Soul sessions every Thursday. We look forward to have, and especially as we said, this is our Gita Jayanti month. Please take some time to read Bhagavad Gita, chant slokas, and really be absorbed, as you said, associate, right, with the transcendental sound vibration of the Lord. Okay, Hare Krishna, and we pray at the Lotus feet Lord Narasimha, so that yes, there are a lot of this, things are coming up again and again with the different waves of this, negative news. So we pray the Lotus feet of Lord Narasimha Dev, that Lord Narasimha gives strength to everybody, and that everybody really stay healthy and really take time to focus at the Lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. So yes, we'll just take 2 minutes of chanting, because that is the most powerful things, and we'll be discussing in our next session in detail, right, how this this chanting of the holy name, it really transforms our life. Just we'll do a quick chanting. First, let's pray to Lord Panchatattva. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much once again for everybody joining. So we look forward to have your association once again. Okay, so we'll have a short kirtan today by Shraddha Mataji and Ankur Prabhu. So please, we can get started. So request, please, right, as we said, Guna Sangasya, right? Let's associate, being completely present in chanting and just releasing this holy name of the Lord. So Mataji, yes, please. You can unmute yourself. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam.
Please.
Start, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yay! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jayo Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Gaur Hari. Jai Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Anante Dev. Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Anante Dev. Jai Pancha Tattva, Jayo Pancha Tattva. Pancha Tattva, Jayo Pancha Tattva. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. श्री गंधर्विका गिरधारी श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you very much, Shraddha Mataji. Thank you very much. Always Sankirtan. I see how your kids are having fun. And at the same time, how our mind is completely focused on chanting of the holy name with that Sankirtan. So once again, I would really like to thank all the devotees, all the participants for joining in our program. So thank you very much and look forward to your association sooner. And yes, considering this is we said this is a special month where we express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada by distributing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, by releasing, by studying Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly. So let's make that positive change in our life by reading, by distributing this Bhagavad Gita. And if anyway you need any help or want to help us, please let us know. We are there to help.